Good morning to all of you. I welcomes to all in our lecture series on electromagnetic theory, that is your core paper 13 belongs to your 6th semester. In our last class we have been discussed plane waves in dielectric media. Then we have been discussed relation between E and H in a uniform plane wave, and we have been discussed that prove that E and H of electromagnetic wave being perpendicular with each other. These things we have been discussed in detail in our last class. Here I forgot to write one thing, that sometimes this is also asking in your exam, that so prove that orthogonality of E and H. So here I am going to write or or in your heading you can add, okay, or orthogonality of E and H. So some books are also written in this way, orthogonality. We know that orthogonality between two vectors means two vectors A and B is nothing but zero dot product. That means A is perpendicular to B. Okay. So in this language, orthogonality language also used by many books. So you just add this one. Okay. So in exam, may it will be asked orthogonal, prove the orthogonality of E and H. So at that time, you should not be confused that you have to prove E dot H equal to 0. Okay. So in today class, we are going to discuss a new topic, that is your also important topic of your electromagnetic theory, that is your Poynting theorem and Poynting vector. Here Poynting vector represented as P. This Poynting vector as named as because it is discovered by J.H. Poynting. Okay, it is discovered by J.H. Poynting. So only for that it is called as Poynting vector. So what is Poynting theorem and Poynting vector, that we are going to discuss in detail in our today class. So first I am going to read the statement of this theorem. What is that? You just watch. It is somewhat interesting. This theorem states that the rate of decrease of total electromagnetic energy within a certain volume within a certain volume within a certain volume is equal to the rate of dissipation of energy in that volume plus the rate of energy flowing out of the surface which enclosing the volume. Okay, so what is the statement is telling to us, that I am going to give you, that I am going to clarify you with a simple example. Okay, first we have to consider, suppose this is your a hot iron ball. Okay, suppose this is a hot iron ball, that means it is glowing. Okay, suppose this is a hot iron ball. Okay, so just now I taken from the furnace and I just put over here on this table. Okay, on this table I just put a hot iron ball. That means from this iron ball many of electromagnetic energy is radiating. That means if it is hot, it is glowing. That means a uh, red light is coming out, and also plus heat energy also coming out, or we can say with variation of wavelength and frequency, the electromagnetic energy is coming out from this hot ball. per second. Okay, so each and every second the electromagnetic energy coming out from this hot iron ball. Okay, now we have to consider a volume. Suppose this is a volume which is enclosed this iron ball. Suppose this is a volume. Okay, this is the volume V, and it's a total surface area. Total surface area is S, and I enclosed this ball. Or you just imagine a iron box. This is a iron box is enclosed this hot iron ball. This is a iron box. Carefully you have to listen. Iron box is enclosed this hot iron ball. So what is happening? First you just imagine that continuously the energy is decreasing from this hot ball. That means this hot ball continuously cooling, right? Continuously cooling. So if we are going to consider this volume, then the total energy is nothing but the heat dissipation. Here it is told the total decrease of total electromagnetic energy within the certain volume. So as with the time this hot iron ball is cooling, that means its energy gradually decreasing. So here decreasing of total electromagnetic energy within the certain volume. So within this volume the total energy of the hot iron ball is decreasing, and it is utilized by two ways. So total energy which is decreased from this hot iron ball, it is utilized by two ways. What are the two ways? See, within the certain is equal to the rate of dissipation of energy in that volume plus the rate of energy flowing out of the surface encloses the volume. So whatever the energy decreases from this ball, hot ball, it is utilized in two ways. One is dissipation in the volume, dissipation inside this volume, and plus energy coming out from the volume through the surface. That means some energy is going to be lost inside this volume. How it is going to be lost, I am going to be explained. Wait, some energy is going to be lost inside this volume, and rest of the energy is going out from this volume through this total surface area. So here amount of energy or amount of total energy decreased by this hot ball is utilized by two ways. One is dissipation, by due to some way some energy is dissipated, and rest of the energy coming out from this volume through this whole surface area. So now the question is that in which way or how the energy has been dissipated. Here this is the iron box. Okay, so whatever the energy coming out from this hot iron ball, it will first strike the wall of this iron box. So whenever the energy first strike to the iron box, this iron wall of this iron box is going to be hit. Then this surface is going to be radiate the energy. Okay, so energy coming out, total energy decreased by this iron ball is utilized. First is going to be utilized to increase the temperature of this wall or to increase or to hit the iron wall of this iron box, and the rest of the energy is going to be coming out from this iron box. So hence total energy is decreased by a electromagnetic energy here. The rate of decrease of total electromagnetic energy within a certain volume. So instead of hot iron ball, if we are going to consider a electromagnetic energy will be here and it is enclosed by a volume, then total energy per unit time is decreased inside the volume. That means first some of the energy is utilized to increase the temperature of this wall, that is used for the dissipation of the energy, and the rest of the energy is coming out from this volume through this six surface of this iron box. Okay, so here we understood by considering a iron box. Now actually suppose here a electromagnetic energy is present and it is coming out from this point. Suppose this is your point, is your x equal to 0 from the, and this is x, y and z axis. From here electromagnetic energy is radiating and moving this side, moving out from this point x equal to 0. So here one can imagine that how much it is decreasing here, exactly same amount of energy is going to be transmit through this surface area, but it is not actually truth. What is going to happen? Whenever the electromagnet is radiating, along the way the molecules, atoms and molecules of the air medium is present. Okay, so first this electromagnetic energy is going to interact with these molecules, ion particles or atoms, molecules. So due to interaction of this electromagnetic energy with the atoms, some energy is going to be dissipated. So if we are going to consider a circular volume around this electromagnetic energy, and from this volume, so inside this volume the decrease of electromagnetic energy at x is equal to 0, decrease electromagnetic energy decrease at x is equal to 0 at a particular time for a 1 second. Suppose for a 1 second it is utilized in two ways. It is utilized, first utilization is the dissipation due to interaction with atoms and molecules of medium, and then rest of the energy coming out from the imaginary volume through the surface of that volume. So if this is a volume we are going to be consider which is encloses the electromagnetic energy which is present at x is equal to 0, the amount of electromagnetic energy decreased inside this volume, it is utilized by two way. One is dissipation due to interaction of atoms and molecules, and the rest of the energy is coming out from this volume through this surface area. So this is the theorem that we are going to be prove with the help of Maxwell's equation. Okay, so this theorem is going to be proved with the help of Maxwell's equation. So this is the proof starts. Consider the Maxwell's equation third I and IV we have, that is your del cross E equal to minus mu del h, this is h, okay, del h by del t, and the fourth equation is del cross h equal to j plus epsilon del e by del t. Let it is your equation number 2. Now take the vector scalar product of equation number 1 and 2 of equation number 1 and 2, but vector scalar product of equation number 1 by h and 2 by e. So here this equation is going to be vector scalar product with h, that means h dot this much, and this equation is going to be e dot this equation, and then subtract. Now take the vector scalar product of equation number 1 by h and 2 by e, and subtracting what we are going to get. See, so here h dot del cross e minus, so this equation number 2 is going to be subtract from equation number 1. So h dot del cross e, left hand side I am telling, h dot del cross e minus e dot del cross h, because e is going to be vector scalar product with equation number 2. So e dot del cross h is equal to, right hand side we have to consider, this is minus mu h, because this equation is going to be scalar product with h. So h dot del h by del t minus e dot j minus epsilon e dot del e by del t. Let it is your equation number 3. But according to vector identity, we know that del cross a cross b equal to b dot del cross a minus a dot del cross b. So hence del dot e cross h will be h dot del cross e minus e dot del cross h. So here from the equation number 4 you can found that the right hand side of the equation number 4 is same with the equation number 3, this one. So instead of this we can write del dot e cross h. So hence substituting equation number 4 in equation number 3, we can write del dot, here this one we are going to put here, del dot e cross h, del dot e cross h, substituting 4 in 3, del dot e cross h will be equal to minus mu into half into del square del h square by del t. How it came? See, previously it was h dot del h by del t. So you can see that instead of this one, instead of h dot del h by del t, we have been written as half del h square by del t. So instead of h del h by del t, we have been written this one, that is half del h square by del t. You just do it, half del h square by del t. If I am going to do the derivative, because here it will be half into 2 into h into del h by del t. So 2 got cancelled, we found h del h by del t. Okay, so instead of h dot del h by del t, we can write half del h square by del t. Okay, so this will be minus mu half del h square by del t minus e dot j minus epsilon. This e dot del e by del t also can be written as half del e square by del t, epsilon half del e square by del t. Okay, and here one thing, many books they have written in this format, this expression also written in this format, that del by del t of h dot h is nothing but is your here in this format, half this one, half del by del t of h dot h some books they are written like this, or we can write half del by del t of h square. Okay, so here the right hand side will be del by del t of minus del by del t of mu h square by 2. This will be minus e dot j, and this will be epsilon e square by 2. Okay, let it is your equation number 5. Now take the volume integration of equation number 5, both this side. What we are going to get? The integration, volume integration, that will be del dot e cross h dv equal to minus del by del t of volume integration, this much, and then minus, this is also volume integration, I forgot to write volume integration, e dot j dv. Okay, so this term volume integration is this one, and this term volume integration is this one. So now we have to apply Gauss divergence theorem on LHS of this equation. So here this LHS is del dot e cross h dv, and if we are going to apply Gauss divergence theorem over here, this volume can be transformed to be surface integration, that is, it is surface integration of e cross h dot ds is equal to nothing changed in the right hand side, same thing I have been written, minus del by del t volume integration mu h square by 2 plus epsilon e square by 2 dv, and this is minus volume integration e dot j dv. Okay, now this e cross h is written as p dot ds equal to minus del by del t volume integration half, here you can see here mu h square. So mu h square is nothing but mu h square can be written as h vector dot mu h vector or h vector dot b vector. Okay, so same thing it has been written. So instead of mu h square, it has been written that half h dot b. Similarly, epsilon e square can be written as e dot d, because epsilon e square is nothing but e dot epsilon d. Okay, sorry, epsilon e, here this is epsilon e. So epsilon e square means e dot epsilon e, that means e dot d. So instead of epsilon e square can be written as e dot d. So have e dot d into dv, and the last term as usual I have been written over here. So here p is nothing but called as your Poynting vector named after the Poynting, J.M. Poynting physicist, okay, who discovered this one. So that implies surface integration of p dot ds equal to minus del by del t of volume integration half, collectively I written h dot b plus e dot d into dv minus this term. Okay, so that implies p dot ds is equal to minus del by del t of volume integration of u dv minus volume integration of, this is e dot j, we can write j dot e also, because a dot b, we know that a dot b is nothing but b dot a, dot product can be same, so it can be written as volume integration of j dot e into dv. Here instead of this much we have been considered as u. Okay, instead of this value we consider as u. So that implies if I am going to take this term to this side, then it can be written as minus del by del t of volume integration of u is equal to volume integration of j dot d plus surface integration of p, that means p dot s surface integration. This is your equation number 6. So if we are going to be extract the physical meaning of this term, then it proves this one, this theorem. So this is the meaning that decrease of energy from a particular volume, from suppose this is the volume, particular volume, and the energy decreases from this volume, left hand side indicates the total energy decreases is equal to, this is belongs to dissipation of energy. This is belongs to dissipation of energy. I told that here it is interacting with the air molecules, atoms, and here it is interacting with the wall of the container, iron wall, which is increases the temperature of the iron wall, hence it is dissipated the energy. And this term is nothing but the flux, the outward flow of energy. That means how much energy it has to be decreased in this volume, it is utilized to dissipated energy interacting with the molecule, and rest of the energy is going to be transmitted or outward flow or fluxed outward flow through this volume, from this volume through this surface. Okay, so each and every term we are going to be interpret, or we are going to be write the physical meaning of each and every term. So just carefully with patience you have to watch. Okay, so I can give you another example for this theorem. You just watch. Suppose your parent given you 1000 rupees for your pocket money. You taken for this month 1000, suppose 5000 money for your pocket money this month, your parent given. So whenever he given to you, this money is continuously going to be decreased, so whenever you got this money, it is decreased continuously, that is 100% sure. So this will be utilized in two ways. So this net money, this total your pocket money is going to be decreased and utilized by two ways. First is your utilized in dissipation manner. Dissipation manner means, suppose in the last month you have been borrowed some 1000 rupees, 500 rupees or 200 rupees from your friends, you are going to be give to them. So this is called as the one type of dissipation. It is interacted, because with this 500 200 money you not bought anything from the market. Okay, so after giving the borrowed monies from your friends, rest of the money is going to be utilized for yourself, for buying something, that may be cloth, that may be book, that may be cloth, dress, book, or foods for yourself, okay, from the market. So the entire pocket money is going to decrease for each and every day. So part of it is dissipated, means part of it is utilized towards the borrowed money, whatever you have been taken from your friends last month, and the rest money is going to be utilized for yourself. So this is one of the example I given. May it will help you for further clarity about the pointing theorem. So now we are going to be interpret each and every term of this equation number 6. Actually equation number 6 is justified the pointing theorem. Mathematically it is proved. So we have to just write the physical meaning of the LHS and RHS terms. First we have to interpret the term which is in the LHS, that is your del by del t of volume integration u dot dv. Okay, so here the quantities, that is 1 by 2 h dot b is nothing but 1 by 2 mu h square, and 1 by 2 e dot d equal to half 1 by 2, that is equal to epsilon e square, represents the magnetic and electric energies per unit volume. Therefore this will be represents electromagnetic energy per unit volume, or energy stored per unit volume of the electromagnetic field, or electromagnetic energy density. This much is nothing but represents electromagnetic density. So if I am going to take its volume integration, then it will be total energy electromagnetic energy inside the volume. So total electromagnetic energy inside the volume, that is your U. That means here U amount of energy present, total amount of energy present inside the volume, that it is telling. Hence integration volume dV represents total electromagnetic energy in the volume. Total electromagnetic energy represents total electromagnetic field energy in the volume V. So as the result, the expression minus is there, minus del by del T. So only del by del T means it is rate of change of increase of total energy. If only del by del T of this much, that means rate of change of increasing of this energy. But if it is minus sign, that is nothing but, that meaning is rate of change of decrease. So the expression minus del by del T of this volume integration U dV, that means represents rate of decrease of electromagnetic energy stored in the volume V. So this expression, which is left hand side of the equation number 6, represents the decrease of electromagnetic energy per second. Okay, now we have to go for the first term of the right hand side, volume integration J dot E into dV. So interpretation of integration of J dot E dV. Don't worry. So you are asking, you are thinking that many things, this much things you have to write in the exam. No, only you just write in your note. In exam, exactly what are the things you have to write, that I am going to be say to you at the end of the video. So interpretation of integration of J dot E dV. To understand the physical meaning of this term, first consider the Lorentz force or electromagnetic force acts on a charged particle Q moving with velocity v. Here I written small v because volume we have taken as v, so maybe confusion will arise. So we considered small v as the velocity of the moving charge particle, and the Lorentz force will be F equal to Q into E plus V cross B, that we know. F equal to Q into E plus C. Here C is the another vector we considered, that is V cross B, and C is perpendicular to both V cross B, V and B. So if we are going to consider C equal to V cross B, so obviously C is perpendicular to V and B. So now consider the work done by electromagnetic field on the charge Q for the displacement of dx distance. I given the vector because displacement is there. So consider the displacement is work done will be, work done will be W equal to F dot dx. Okay, or instead of F we can write Q into E dot C into dot dx. Okay, now consider for this single charge rate of doing work. Rate of doing work means rate of change of work is nothing but your power. Okay, rate of doing work, that means work done per time is nothing but your power, that we know. So rate of doing work or power by electromagnetic field will be del W by del T equal to, so here it will be better that you have to write dW. So for the dx it is dW amount of work done. So doing work or single charge rate of doing work or power will be represented mathematically as del W by del T equal to F dot dx by dt, or we can write F dot dx by dt. Dx by dt is written as V. So F is nothing but our Q into E plus C dot V. So now I am going to do the dot product of V with E and C. So Q E dot V plus C dot V, so is equal to Q into E dot V plus 0, because E and V are perpendicular with each other. Here we have been written. Okay, So hence this term will be 0. So we found del W by del T equal to Q into E dot V. So if we have considered n number of charge particle, for one particle, the power, the rate of power by electromagnetic field is this one. If we have to consider n number of particles, then if we have considered n number of charge particle per unit volume, each carrying a charge q, then work done per unit volume per unit time will be n into this much. This is the power or the rate of work done for one charge particle. Suppose we have to consider n number of charge particle, then total number of power will be n into this much. So this will be this much. Per unit volume, per unit time will be this much. Or it can be written as nq v dot e, because e dot v is nothing but v dot e. So this can also be written as nqv dot e. Okay. So now, but we know that the current density is nothing but J equal to nqv. Hence, the work done per unit volume per unit time, this expression I am telling, the work done per unit volume per unit time will be this one we got, no? So by considering J as this one, this much, the work done per unit volume per unit time can be written as equal to J dot E. Okay. So as electromagnetic field does work on charged particle, hence energy will be dissipated. So electromagnetic wave does work on the charged particle. Charged particle means when the electromagnetic wave is radiating from a point, it is interacting with atoms and molecules and ions, and due to which some work has been done by this energy. So it is propagating. On the way of this propagation, many charged particles will be interacted, many molecules is going to be interacted. Due to interaction, this electromagnetic wave has been done some work. Okay. Hence, so electromagnetic field does work on charged particle, hence energy will be dissipated. In this way, the energy is disrupted or dissipated or lost in the way of the propagation, and the rest of the energy is outflowed from this total volume through this surface. So J dot E represents Joule's loss, or it is called the power dissipated per unit volume. Hence, total volume V, if we have to consider J dot E for the total volume represents total power dissipated in a volume V, or electromagnetic energy, total power or electromagnetic energy per unit time. Okay, here energy per time, that means power, electromagnetic energy per time dissipated or Joule loss in a volume V. Okay, now we have to consider the last term, that is your interpretation of your this one surface integration of P dot ds. Here P dot ds is nothing but E cross H dot ds, or by Gauss divergence theorem it can be written as del dot E cross H into dV, whatever we found initially. We have been written also. This term represents the divergence. Here see, divergence means outward flow. Okay, we know that the divergence of P, or Poynting vector, or electromagnetic energy, that is also written here also, the divergence of P or outward rate of flow of electromagnetic energy through the surface S which encloses the volume V. Okay, that means this E cross H is represents outward flow, that not E cross H, this term divergence of E cross H, that means the energy is diverged from this volume, which is enclosed by this surface, V. Thus Poynting vector P represents the outward rate of flow of electromagnetic energy per unit area of the surface. So pointing vector, if this total is represents the electromagnetic energy flowing outward from this volume through this whole surface, then only pointing vector is represent what? Is represent outward flow of electromagnetic energy per unit time per unit surface area. So if we are going to consider a unit surface area, this is consider this is the sphere, okay? So you just consider a unit surface area. From this area, whatever the outward flow of electromagnetic energy, that is your pointing vector, equal to E cross H. So the physical meaning of pointing vector is outward flow of electromagnetic energy per unit surface area, okay, which is enclosed a volume V, not whole surface area. Through a unit surface area, how much electromagnetic energy flowing out per second. So this is the, thus pointing vector represents the outward rate of flow of electromagnetic energy per unit area of the surface, as P equal to E cross H. Hence direction of energy will be in the EM electromagnetic wave, which is perpendicular to both E cross H. So this P direction will be the direction same with the propagation direction of electromagnetic wave, but this P is perpendicular both E and H, okay. So hence this pointing theorem initially here, that thus pointing theorem states that rate of decrease of total electromagnetic energy, here at x is equal to 0 within a certain volume. Suppose this is a certain volume. Within a certain volume, how much energy, electromagnetic energy decreased, that is utilized in two ways. It is equal to the rate of dissipation of energy. It is equal to, first part is the dissipation due to the interaction of the atoms and molecules. Dissipation rate of is equal to the rate of dissipation of energy in that volume plus rate of energy flowing out of the surface enclosing the volume, and how much rest of the energy will be, that energy is going to be flowing out from this volume through this surface. So hence this is the law of conservation of electromagnetic energy has been proved. So this is all about your pointing theorem and pointing vector. So if this question will be asked in your exam, up to this much you have to write, and you have to just write the physical meaning of the terms LHS and RHS. You just write here a heading, physical meanings of the terms in LHS and RHS. So first you have to write the term, this one. This term represents the, this one you have to write, represents this one here. This term represents the rate of decrease of electromagnetic energy stored in the volume. This much you have to write in your exam. These things not to be not to be write in your exam, okay. For the second term, likewise, so physical meaning of this term, you give a subheading and you have to write that, and the physical meaning is nothing but this one, represents total power or electromagnetic energy per unit time dissipated in volume V, okay. The third one is your surface integration of P dot S. The physical meaning of P dot S is nothing but your this one, outward rate flow of electromagnetic energy through the surface S, which is enclosing volume V. This much you have to write, and hence proved. You have to write, no need to write once again these things. So only one or two line, within 1 or 2 lines you have to just write the meaning, physical meaning of this term and this term and this term. But I suggest you all have to write all the things whatever I explained in this video in your note. Exam you have to write as I told to you. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. If any doubt, you can ask me. Thank you.